What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic-Con Podcast, episode 34. Recording this on September 2nd, 2021. Both Zach and I are excited. We're going to see Shang-Chi tonight. I am, of course, one of the hosts, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime. So we're trying to do this real fast so we can go to our respective movie theaters in our respective states and go see the movie. We're really excited to go out there and get it on premiere night. So, again, what is going on, Zach? It's been a while since we've actually talked, and I'm really excited to do this episode because we have tons of stuff to talk about. So what's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on, dude? Yeah, you were a little busy last week, so we had a little special guest. Once more, shout out to Gabe, our friend from Ninja Comics, for coming on and just geeking out with me for about an hour, which was dope. So I know we'll probably talk some Shang-Chi a little bit later, but you brought it up, and now I'm thinking about it. And I know what the thing I'm most excited for when to watch the movie tonight is to find out how you pronounce his fucking name. Because like you're gonna hear it, like we are gonna hear it, like. And so we've been getting, if you haven't been following the podcast and Lords of the Long Box or whatnot, where you've seen us, we've been getting some flack, and I think maybe it's me, maybe it's not we. About pronunciation of Shang-Chi. I have no fucking idea how to pronounce this dude's name. I don't know if it's Shang-Chi. I don't know if it's Shang-Chi. I don't know if it's Julie. I don't fucking know. Okay. But I thought it was Shang-Chi, and people have been like, no, it's not how you say it. So finally, we will find out. The mystery will be solved tonight.
Yeah. I mean, they've been saying Shang-Chi in the trailers and,
right.
The overdubbed person talking. So,
and I think it's Feige. Right. Feige said it also.
Yes, Feige even said the same thing. So we'll have to see what what they say tonight. I'm sure it's exactly what Feige has been saying. So,
and so if you said that's wrong, I expect a formal apology.
Ooh, so all right, calling people out tonight. Awesome. So let's kind of get right into our community section, and we are so excited. I am so excited to talk about this because I even told Zach the moment I woke up today, I was just like, man, I can't wait to record the podcast. This is something that's been going all over in the comic book community, good and bad, creating some drama, and it's a lot of fun. So we're talking about the first annual Comic Book Community Awards, which recognizes community of creators from YouTube and Instagram. Oh, all right. Let's start this.
So that was a mouthful. Why I was muted, sneezing my brains out right now.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So let's talk about this. There is this gentleman who decided to, come up with. This is a great idea. Let's first and foremost, let's say something. It's a great idea for the community. Something that we don't have. We're not the Oscars or the Golden Globes, and you want to recognize people that maybe people don't know about, and that's the reason why YouTube creators and content creators have guests on, so people that don't know about them find out about them. That's why we have guests on here. That's the world. That's what's awesome about the comic book community. Now, this person decided to have this comic book creator awards thing, and it kind of started. He started an Instagram page back on, let's call it June 26th.
Yeah, I was going to ask what the time frame is here.
So yeah, the IG was created on June 26th. Now, his Instagram account and his YouTube account has been going for probably about a couple of years, but he actually really only just started doing comics not too long ago, and talked about it at the end of June about these awards. So the awards, according to the website, it's cbcawards.org. Basically, the nominations were only held from July 3rd till October 14th. And according to him, there was over 1,500 nominations. So
where was it held at? On Instagram or
on his website? You basically there was different categories, and you basically typed in the name of the comic book creator or YouTube creator, IG community creator, whichever you wanted. And then the finalists were just announced last week, so on the 28th. And now voting starts from August 28th through November 13th, and the winners are going to be announced on December the 4th. So let's kind of talk about, some of these awards, right? So some of the categories, and I feel like when you had these nominees, you should have maybe explained a little bit better. Like out of the 10, I think there's only 3 on the website that actually explain what the what differentiates, what actually mentions for this,
like what the genre is or the
yeah,
award, right? Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
So
The
one
categories.
of them is Comic Book Community Builder Award. It says the Community Builder Award should go to the nominee who has been most successful in bringing the community together. Okay, that's an awesome award. There is definitely a lot of people out there who have helped the community. Now, as far as who was on this list, we have 5 people. I only know 2 of them actually. One being Reggie Collects, only knowing by name, not really watching any of his videos, and our man Sith Lordley, who's been on this podcast, who's in one of our private group chats, who I have conversations with on Instagram and been on his channel, right?
Right.
Now, and nothing taking away from the other people, but I feel like if this community awards thing would have happened, instead of starting this back on June 26th, this Instagram, and just saying, hey, we're doing an awards, and having a total of 17 likes back on June 26th for your first post, maybe you should have been like tagging and mentioning channels as a startup.
Yeah. So let's preface this as well by, because who knows, people might be listening and they might be thinking, well, Justin and Zack, you both have said on multiple occasions, you don't really watch YouTube and stuff like that. So that's a fair point. So it's a fair point as to like why we may not know some of these people, and some we do, obviously, but
it's YouTube. There's millions of channels.
Right. And I definitely also want to preface the whole conversation by saying, like, I watched a video he posted recently on YouTube about all this and kind of about like addressing the drama. Like, I get what he's trying to do. And like you said earlier, it's a good idea. And like, I feel bad for the guy because I definitely don't think, I 100% don't think there was any maliciousness. I don't think there was any favoritism.
Correct.
I do believe some of the people on here are absurd, but yeah, I don't think there was any kind of like malice involved in like what he was doing. So
correct.
I do feel bad for the amount of hate he's getting. And honestly, we are a hateful ass community. Like, we are a bunch of fucking haters. Like, so the comic book community is a bunch of trolls and haters. So I'm not surprised though.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And his most recent, so we're going to kind of go, there's a couple, and if anybody doesn't know, again, you can go on his Instagram, it's CBC Awards, and check out the 10 different categories. And then today he created an 11th category. But as far as comic book community builder, whether it's one person or a group of people, I just feel like, and I'm just going to kind of take this one because, again, I don't know 2 out of the 5 finalists. Again,
3 out of the 5.
Oh, well, 3.
You only know 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I only know 2. I don't know the other 3. They could be great channels. I don't know. But I know in the Northeast and the East Coast community, of a great comic book community builder, and that's 3 Men in a Basement. Now, over the past 4 years or 3 years that they've been a channel, again, I'm no longer on that channel, but they've held 4 comic swaps. They've done comic book crawls.
Right.
Like, that's something they've set up at conventions now, with small tables promoting themselves. And I feel like if people would have known about that for the amount of subs they had, I think more people would have been inclined to vote for them for comic book community builder, because I think that's what we all want to be. Is I've definitely, in my experience doing the comic book crawls, doing the comic swaps, you meet new people, you meet new friends, and I don't think it's just a YouTube thing. Like, I cannot believe that they weren't, I would love to see the votes. He's like, oh, I'm not going to get into numbers, this and that. But the reason you don't want to get into numbers is because you have barely any likes on any of these photos because nobody knew about it. You weren't tagging anybody. You were literally just posting a picture and saying, this is what it is. So,
yeah. And a lot of people, not to say that I have like my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the community by any means, but the fact that like you only hear about it now seems a little like, what the fuck, like you said this award's been going on since June and this is just a topic of conversation this past week. Like, that's a problem probably.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody mentioned it, that there was a voting thing to do, or nobody posted this. Nobody reposted this for the thousand, 2,000 plus people that I follow on Instagram, or nobody like reposted this in their stories. There's no talk about it other than until these finalists. Very odd. Of course, the first group, Pressable Defects, they took the ball and said that they came out and said that they are in one of these top 5 categories. They really do not deserve to be there. And that was the what was it? I'm looking at
speculation.
Yes, the speculation, best speculation comic investing content. Of course, your top 5 is Comic Tom 101, Newbies Comics, Pressable Defects, Brian's Comics, and Tales from the Flip Side. Now, again, Pressable Defects is out of it. If you actually go on the website, you cannot vote for them, and that's understandable. Again, you and I are on a channel that had 5,000 subs, got shut down 2 years ago, and now is at 7,000 subs. And we do quite a bit about speculation in the comic book community.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny, today's video of him, apologizing and him saying, well, some channels weren't recognized, and saying something about 7,000 subs.
Right.
It kind of
is on the nose. It's kind of on the nose.
It's kind of on the nose that we know who you're talking about. And what's even funnier is on that Instagram post, the comic book speculating, if you actually go back onto the photo, you can no longer comment on that photo. So, seems something a little funny. But again, I'm not even saying it like I want to feel like I'm nominated. Zach, you don't want to really feel like you're nominated like for Lords of the Long Box. Again, there's other channels out there like Keep It Thorough Comics, that Universe X, that does tons of speculation that are not even on this list. And it just is incredible. Where are all these channels?
I be 100% honest with you. I couldn't care less about like being recognized by something, especially if it's something that I literally have never heard of until the time it comes out. And and I'll even own that as like maybe that's on me that I haven't heard about it, but I know I'm not the only person. So like if it was just me, which wouldn't be surprising because a lot of times Justin has to tell me about things that I'd be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, maybe just I don't know. But I'm not the only person. In fact, I'm actually part of, I think, the majority who, for once, that doesn't know about this. So I don't care about like that kind of recognition. I know the rest of the guys at the Lords don't really care either as well. And like I said, I watched the guy's video. It was 15 minutes long, which is about 10 minutes longer than I usually watch a YouTube video for. But and I felt bad for him. I genuinely did. Because like I said, I think he was trying to do something fun, and the amount of hate that he got and like anger and stuff is probably unjustified. But that being said, there were justifications in his, I don't know if I want to call it an apology, about his explanation video that made no sense. Like he's saying, some channels are new and some channels are large, but if you only get a percentage of viewers to your subs, that's totally different. Well, I can tell there is a couple people in this, larger names in the community, whose subs to views ratio is quite horrific and horrendous, So if you're putting people in there for, let's say, the Lifetime Achievement Award, Jesus Christ, that is like cringeworthy in and of itself. And then these are people whose videos get less than 10% of their subs ratio. I mean, come on, bro. What lifetime achievement did you do there? Like, look at some of these other channels who have, let's say, like the Lords, for example, just because I know the number, 7,000, which their views are about 50%, if not 60% views to subs ratio. I mean, that's a pretty big achievement. I don't know. It's all so absurd to me, and like pandering to these channels, like, oh, he said he reached out to the channels to talk to him, to see if it was okay. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to like it, because who's not going to turn down free publicity, for the 17 people who liked the photo.
And he even says that he doesn't know. I'm trying to think of the exact thing that he said. He basically says in the video about not knowing all the channels. Well, then maybe you really shouldn't be doing these type of awards.
Right.
If again, this is something that maybe should have been promoted over a few months. All the channels should have been like kind of not
or like a committee, maybe had a committee of unbiased individuals.
Yeah, don't be and he even says it. He's like, I'm a single person. I'm the only one trying to do this. So Yeah, I understand that. So, but you're taking on the weight of the world for you're a small Instagram account, you're a small very small YouTube channel. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's like promote this for 3 months, let other channels know about it, and then go ahead and nominations. Because let's just play devil's advocate. Like if we knew about this, hey guys, who's out there listening, go out and go to this website. They're doing a nomination for best podcast of 2021, which I
Yeah.
believe we are. No, but like something like that. Like at least we can kind of promote ourselves. But there was no way to know about this until last week when there was these announcements.
Right. Now, and also like this is kind of something it's fun to talk about, and it is just kind of stupid and goofy, but I mean, and honestly, this shit, it don't mean shit. Like, I don't care if you win the fucking Stanley Award. You ain't Stanley, bro. I know a certain individual out there likes to claim he's Stanley. You ain't.
Mm-hmm.
Use a hefty ass motherfucker who ain't Stanley. So, yeah, bullshit, bro.
Yeah, there was some really good ones, and one other. We'll just touch on one of the other categories was best unboxing video or series. I know again this one. I know 2 out of the 5. Unboxing video or series. I'm surprised Otto from 3 Men in the Basement is not on there. The 9.8 Karate Chop is something that everybody knows.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised that his CGC unboxings aren't on there. Or even, again, there's just, I don't know. I don't want to get into like name dropping, but like that's what it is. There's so many other channels that, you said you had 1,500 nominations, but how many of those nominations are for Comic Tom? Considering he's in like 3 categories, or Reggie Collects, who's somehow he's in the Lifetime Achievement Award. He's in the Comic Book Community Channel of the Year, Comic Book Community Builder.
Lifetime Achievement. I've never watched one video from that guy.
Yeah. And most entertaining content creator. I mean, how did you get 4? I mean, those 1,500 could be 500 just to him. Let's just call it like.
Or the 17 likes on that video, 4 of them were his people. Yeah. So it's just whatever, dude. It's so stupid.
So I just feel like we needed to talk about it because there's other channels that are out there talking about it. And if you didn't know about it, now you do. And if you want to go ahead and now enter into the 11th category that's been added, the People's Choice category, which
is pandering. It's going to be totally pandering. Like it's such bullshit. Like now whoever, because he's going to do this last award for people who, like felt slighted or upset or whatever. So now it's basically like look, it's not People's Choice Award. It's the Crybaby Award. It's the Crybaby Award because you cried, and not necessarily you, not the person who got it. That's not fair. But people cried about it. And then, like, honestly, let's say it's not gonna be, and I'm telling you right now, let's say it was, for example, the Comic-Con podcast. I'd be like, no, don't want it. Leave me alone.
Yeah. It's funny, like all of a sudden, the only videos that were actually tagged were the ones once you know who the finalists were. And then this last post that he did today, and let's see, channels like, oh, Lords of the Long Box is tagged. Oh, Keep It Thorough Comics. Oh, Joker M21 from the NY Warriors, 3 Men in a Basement. Like, and other people. Like all of a sudden that these channels who were not even on this list, knew nothing about this, are all of a sudden tagged now. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So again, but nothing against the people who were nominated. That's awesome. Nothing against the guy. It's a great idea, but it definitely could have been taken in a different route. I think someone maybe who's more knowledgeable in the YouTube and even Instagram community, because even if you look at the website, he even talks about content creators in the YouTube and Instagram who produce content regularly. There's people that are on, first of all, there's people on Instagram that don't do YouTube who put out good content. And then some of these categories, if anybody has looked at this, does anybody realize that of all the 10 categories and the 5 people of each category who are nominated, there's not one female category, or there's not one female content creator? Okay, so maybe that should have been an idea, like to have that as an award, because there are females out there in the comic book community who do create content.
There's also there's nothing having to do with the statue community at all, which is a pretty large part of the comic book community when it comes to YouTube and Instagram and whatnot. So that seems like a pretty large gap as well.
Yeah. I definitely feel bad for our female listeners and content creators who basically just got shoved to the side on this one, because there are some amazing channels out there and women out there who are just nowhere to be seen on this list. So,
Yeah.
maybe next year they'll have an all female one, but I don't think that, they should be, yes, they should definitely have their own category, but I feel like there are some good channels out there that probably are better than some of these channels that I know about that are on this list.
Right.
Just putting that out there. But that's enough for the CBC Awards. So again, if you want to go out there and nominate your people's choice, feel free to nominate the Comic-Con podcast.
Please don't.
Oh
Please
my
don't.
God. Please, don't vote for us. It's fine. We really don't need to be voted for. We really don't need this. But
yeah,
let's move on. Now, this is something that's probably been like 3 weeks old, and we, unfortunately, every week we tried to do this. There was always something. Like, again, I was out last week. We had our buddy Ken on the week before, and really didn't want to, take away from his appearance here on the podcast. But our friend Nate, Child by God, sent us an email a few weeks back, and he was talking about how good the Voltron series was on Netflix, and he's telling me to watch it. But he's actually giving us a book to do a giveaway. So for our 34th episode, we are going to be doing a giveaway. And the only way that you'll obviously know about the giveaway is by listening to us. And we're going to tell you right now how to get the giveaway. So here's his email. He's like, I wanted to share a book for your listeners if you want to do a giveaway. I have an extra copy of Stray Dogs #1, the first print blank cover, for someone who may be looking for it and wants to submit it to CGC for Tony Flex and Trish Foster signing and remark, or maybe you just want to hold on to it for a while. But I'll let you guys decide how to choose the recipient. The deadline for the submissions is the end of September. So I will send it to him once you guys choose who will get the book. Totally your call if you want to do it or not. But I just wanted to, get into someone's hands who might actually appreciate it. That is really awesome. So
yeah, for sure.
So giveaway from Nate, Trial by God's really awesome. He's always sending us emails here on the podcast. I know you were going back and forth with him about a week or so ago, going back and forth, just talking about comic books. He's always, hitting me up on Instagram as well. So what we're going to do is, the way that this is going to work for the giveaway, we'll run it for 1 week, and then we will pick the winner next Friday. So you have a full week from September 3rd until September. We'll record probably next Thursday. So September the 9th, basically, 6-7 days. You have to repost and tag the Comic-Con podcast photo that we drop, of course, for our thumbnails. So for tomorrow's post, which is now today, for episode 34, you have to repost it, not in your stories, because that goes away after 24 hours. The only way that we can definitely track this is you have to repost the picture and tag us, so then we know exactly how many entries we have for this. So
with hashtag as well.
Yes. We'll do a hashtag. What do you want to do the hashtag?
No, just the Comic-Con podcast, right?
Oh, yeah. We could do the
or
Comic-Con
giveaway
podcast giveaway.
Yeah, let's do that.
So again, the rules for a Stray Dogs #1 first printing blank cover, not the first print, not the 5th print blank cover that they did, but the first print, which is expensive. You have to repost our photo from Instagram that we post up, tag the Comic-Con podcast, and use the hashtag the Comic-Con podcast giveaway. And we will have the winner done next week, and we'll have our buddy Nate send it out.
Yeah, and don't sleep on it, because, like you said, the signing is at the end of September. So it's something we kind of jacked around with. We should have done this, but we got busy. But we need to do it after this week. We need to get this book shipped. So whoever gets it can get it sent if they want to, for that option to get the, because they're doing like your dog, right? You can send a picture of your dog, and they'll do a sketch of your dog on the cover.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have been doing for that. So again, we got a great giveaway. Thanks, Nate, so much for that free giveaway.
For sure.
Again, so when you see the 34th posts episode on our Instagram, make sure you repost it and right to your page. Again, not to your stories, because that will disappear and we will not be able to see it when we choose the winner the following week. So out of the community section into the movies and comic book stuff. Zach, you said you had an article that I don't know anything about, so you want to go ahead and talk about it?
Yeah, it's just a quick comic book one that I kind of came across when we were setting up here, and I thought it was interesting because we've talked a lot actually about like this writer. This is a great run, and how things are switching up. But I found an article about Immortal Hulk's Al Ewing has severed his relation with Joe Bennett over reprehensible illustration. So I don't know if you guys remember. I'm not even going to say how long ago this was because I don't really remember. Oh, here we go. Immortal Hulk number 43. So back in Immortal Hulk number 43, there was an issue with a panel being published that supposedly had some anti-Semitic imagery. There was like, I don't remember what it was. Wasn't it like the Star of David in like a window? But it was obviously that's not anti-Semitic. I can't remember what it was, but it was something about, there was something in like a window of like a store, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was like yeah, I think it was like a jewelry store, and it said something.
It was something anti-Semitic. Well, apparently, some other artwork from Joe Bennett had surfaced that Al Ewing talked about. He didn't really like portray, he didn't show the picture of it, but he saw it, and it basically was some swordsman slaughtering tiny skirting people with buck teeth and ears of rats and big noses. One of them cosplaying Dracula. This is all paraphrased from what Bennett said, but that it was also a little bit anti-Semitic, and that it was kind of following similar tropes for anti-Semitism. And at this point, Al Ewing just said, look, I'm done. Like he'd kind of, I think, stuck up for Joe Bennett before. He was saying like, look, I don't think he meant to do that. I think this was a mistake, an inadvertent mistake, but apparently he's not letting it slide now. So he's spoken to Marvel behind the scenes, and he was saying that he knows it's no comfort to people at the sharp end of this kind of brutal propaganda, but to show his commitment to an apology, Al Ewing shared screenshots of donations he made to Rainbow Railroad and the Rainforest Trust, which is, I'm assuming it's like I don't know which either one of those are in terms of charities, but yeah. So, we got Al Ewing switching over to Venom, and we got Donny Cates coming to Hulk. I don't know. Do you remember? I don't believe that Joe Bennett was going with him. Anyway,
isn't it Ram V?
Yes, it was Ram V, but for writing though, but for art, I don't know who was going with him. And you know what? Like I'm looking at pictures right now of like Joe Bennett's artwork in the in Immortal Hulk, and I was never really crazy about it. Like there's like the weird ones. Have you been reading it? Did you read it much?
What the
Immortal Hulk
early stuff, and then it kind of dropped off after like issue 20. So
there was like a lot of parts where like I can think of right now with this merger between Del Fry and Rick Jones, and it's like a head coming out here and like this like half body coming the other. It's like weird and grotesque looking, and I guess it's kind of cool. But look, I mean, I'm not.
You got Brian Hitch on the art.
Oh, okay, I'm not super unhappy about the end of that art, to be honest with you. And if the dude's out there doing like putting like his political opinion, look, Justin and I have talked politics on here before in terms of like how we kind of feel about it. I'm just about leaving all that shit out of comics. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like there's no place that, especially hateful shit. Okay. Like it's one thing to speak on, political topics and whatnot. Like, I mean, obviously X-Men is based around a political topic and stuff like that, but hateful shit, man, deuces, bro. See you later. So, I mean, it's just not worth it, dude. There's so much other hate going on out there in the world. We don't need more of it in comic books,
I agree 100%.
And I thought that was really, that's pretty stand up of Al Ewing, in multiple levels where he's like, look, I'm not gonna make a big deal about this, but I definitely want to speak up. He didn't, he's like, I apologize for me, like kind of defending him last time. Apparently I was wrong. And he's trying to make it better. So that's good on him, man. He didn't have to do that. I don't think he has to do that, but he did. So that's cool.
All right.
So yeah,
nice little article from Zach there for Al Ewing. So We'll go some more movie news. Let's do some movie news. So this was actually just posted on comicbook.com on September the 2nd. Thor Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman speaks about bulking up for her Marvel return. So of course we all know that Natalie Portman's coming back as Jane Foster. Jane Foster will be being the new She-Thor. And in a recent interview, She-Thor. In a recent interview with Vanity Fair, Portman said it was really fun about her workouts and training. She worked with a trainer. It was done 4 months prior to shooting, and then obviously all the way through filming. We did a lot of weight training and a lot of protein shakes, heavyweight training that I haven't ever done before. Of course, I've never really aimed to get bulky. It was very physical, so it was a lot of agility work and also strength work. She later said in the interview, it definitely helps you to get into the character and definitely changes the way I move. You walk differently, you feel differently. I mean, it is so wild to feel strong for the first time in my life. So I'm pretty excited because we know what she's going to look like once she throws on that helmet, right?
And we've seen a couple pictures where she's looking pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. So, to see her in this new tone, and that's something that, we've seen some of these actresses in the past who have gone from, not really being a physical presence to you kind of need to be a little physical presence in from what we've seen from like Jason Aaron's run of the Thor with Jane Foster, like, you know, she needs to be a little bulky. People always complained about Gal Gadot like not really being too muscular or physical looking in the Wonder Woman stuff.
And then she did for the second movie. She bulked up a little bit. She just has one of those body types that's never gonna be like bulky, man. Like she's just like a naturally thin person.
Yeah.
So
did you ever see Black Swan?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When she was like super, super thin.
Like it was like skeletal. It was like almost kind of gross. Yeah.
So to go from like, looking like that years ago and then just, doing movies throughout the year. And now we're going to see her in like a more physical physique. It's going to be really good. So of course we know that Portman will be coming back. We have, Talisa Thompson. She'll be coming back as Valkyrie. And they're even, of course they even state that the Guardians of the Galaxy crew is in the movie, which I didn't really know that how much of a role they're going to play.
Well, they have. I mean, that's always been the question. It's like they have to be at some point because at the last time we saw Thor, he was going away with them. So, like, what's the explanation where they're at? So I think that's good. Maybe they'll just drop his ass off or something.
Yeah. And then last but not least, you have Christian Bale playing Gore the God Butcher, which I feel like that's still an underrated book until people actually see him in the trailer, and then that book is going to blow up. I feel like people, want to invest in books now. Just go out and buy the book because I'm sure once they see the trailer of him, that book is going to triple in price, like all these other books for Spider-Man and Shang-Chi. Most recently, again, today, the movie's dropping today, and we just recently saw on coverprice.com that the highest sale ever for a Marvel Special Edition 15 just sold on August 30th in a CGC 9.8 for $20,050.
Wow.
For the first appearance of Shang-Chi.
Our boy Tim's selling a 9.6, right?
Yeah, and he's only asking like 5. So
yeah. It's a big gap between a 9.6 and a 9.8.
Yeah, well, I'm sure after the movie really drops, I'm sure that price will go up. So maybe he should hold on to it for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So we don't know. And I guess we're going to talk about our stuff next week once we both go see it. So yeah, we're definitely going to do a spoiler review on that. So that's some interesting news about Thor. And then last but not least on the TV and movie side, this was also I just found this for all you Star Wars fans and for myself over at StarWarsNews.net.com. New bits of Boba Fett's motive and armor in the Book of Boba Fett. So recently, from a credible source that was given to the guys over at StarWarsNews.net, it's talking about possible spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett. So this is not 100% confirmation, but they do say it is from a credible source. With that being said, we've learned that in the series, Boba Fett is in revenge mode. He will be going after everyone who did him wrong in the past, and he will also be looking for the other bounty hunters. And even more, he will be doing it with a brand new look to his armor. Now, of course, we knew that he got a new armor kind of at the end of Mandalorian season 2. Went from that beat up armor that
What kind
the
of just look he did?
Mandalorian.
That's funny. You know what's funny about this is I actually just rewatched this week Mandalorian season 2. Like I kind of like
Okay.
throughout the days was watching it, and I don't know if he got like a new armor. He just kind of like it looked like he got a paint job because even the
Yeah.
helmet still has the bullet ding in it. So just
Yeah.
like a new paint job, which that
So
makes
that's what
sense.
it is. Uh, they talk about that in the article. Like, is he going to get even and more updated armor than what we saw kind of at the end of season 2? With the like secret trailer at the end,
Mhm.
or are we going to get? Because they also said that with this show, we're going to get a time frame of not only stuff that happened during Empire Strikes Back, but of course now post Return of the Jedi. So we
Right.
may see him. Is that armor they're talking about more the older armor, and then he's just going to go when it's in present day, they're going to be showing him in what that armor looks like now after the Mandalorian. Really don't know, but we do know that there are pre-Empire flashbacks, so they say.
Yeah.
So we're excited for that, and that actually just got wrapped for shooting, so that'll be coming out this December. So
To be
really
honest,
excited for that.
that's a little risky in my opinion because you look at a character like Boba Fett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who became popular based 100% on look, nothing else. He had no story, he had like no lines. It was
Mm-hmm.
just look alone, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then to kind of go dabble and like mess. I mean, Boba Fett's character and creation is all post popularity. Like he got popular and then they had to fill in the gaps, So like
Mm-hmm.
to then go mess with the one thing that honestly made him who he was, which was the appearance, it's a little risky. Like you're gonna piss off. You're gonna have those guys who don't like anything new, the purists and whatnot. So, and honestly, it doesn't really match with the character. Like the Mandalorians don't care. Like they don't care what their appearance is. They're not out there like changing their armor. I mean, some of them, I guess, like Sabine Wren and even Bo-Katan have like all that graffiti on their helmets and stuff like that. But Boba Fett never cared, and he doesn't even consider himself a Mandalorian. So he's just out here rocking his father's armor. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. So that's our news articles for this evening. Something that we both Zach and I are just absolutely loving, and we really wanted to talk about it with DC Titans
Yes.
on HBO Max. So if you haven't watched any of this, if you don't have HBO Max or haven't watched it yet, or if you're still in the earlier seasons, feel free to jump over to this part and go right on to our last part. But let's kind of dive into season 3 of Titans. So first week it came out, they dropped 3 episodes, and so far we've gotten 2 episodes. Actually, no, we've actually
6.
just gotten 6. I didn't even watch today's. So
Oh, you haven't yet? I watched it
no.
for this episode.
Oh shit, bro! I'm sorry, I totally forgot. You know what it is? The Wednesday Disney thing always throws me off because, like, when I watch What If, and which is that another thing we'll talk about, not today. We'll talk about it another time. But I always forget that, like, all right, well, I was always so used to the Marvel stuff dropping on a Thursday. And then I know Loki trying to change it up and they went on Wednesdays. But I'm always like, whatever. Like Thursdays, there's nothing coming out. But yeah, damn it. I totally forgot to do it today. So, well,
Okay,
we at least can
I'll
talk
keep it
about the first
spoiler
5. All right.
I'll keep today's episode spoiler free.
All right. So we can at least talk about the first 5 episodes. Let's just go right there. Red Hood, fucking amazing. Just I'm a huge Red Hood fan. Like Jason Todd, one of my favorite characters. Red Hood, one of my favorite characters. His intro when he becomes Red Hood is straight out of the comic books, straight out of the Batman Under the Red Hood storyline animated movie. Like, it's just awesome. Like, I've watched that episode and those parts in the beginning and when he fights Nightwing several times now.
Right.
Past that, I just think the season has been nonstop, a lot better than the past 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just the acting, the cinematography, the fighting, they've just really upped their scale. And I think it's maybe because of the HBO Max budget, considering season 1 was like the DC Universe budget, right?
Could be true, yeah. I think it's also just a cleaner story. Like season 1 was good. season 2, they had that weird thing where like the finale for season 1 should have, like the first episode for season 2 should have been the finale for season 1. They had, I rewatched season 2 recently as well, building up to this, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's great, but there are lulls in it where it's just like the secret about Deathstroke and Jericho, like that shit goes on for a while where like they don't talk about it. And then they talk about it and you're like, bro, if you would have just fucking said something, this wouldn't be a big deal. The story kind of lulled in a place. And I feel like this season, the story is focused right now, at least as of now. It's very focused. It's on a line and it's crazy. How about, I'm meant to ask you about this. How about like, what's cool is, obviously, you can't always do the stories exactly like the comics, right? Like, you're never going to get the perfect adaptation. This adaptation of like the Red Hood is pretty spot on. It's pretty similar, but I love how it's also kind of merged with Arkham Knight, the video game. Like with the Scarecrow and the Red Hood, kind of like not necessarily working together, but like being in like the two villains at the same time. I really like, as I'm watching this, I keep thinking, damn, I want to go play Arkham Knight again for like the 9th time, but it's very similar, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Like the Arkham Knight thing, because that's, and we'll touch on, the other villain, Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow, a great actor. Him being like a hippie, like something that we've never seen in the comic books. Just the whole whole aspect of the fear toxin and how he talks with Jason about it, and Jason says, "Oh, I'll tell you everything I know." And I don't know what happens in episode 6, but yeah, it's been just an absolute great season for all the characters, except for the one that died.
So I have a funny. Are we going to talk about that? Because I have a funny story that deals with that.
Again, if you're listening to this point, you know who passed away, and we told you in the beginning that we're going to be spoiling in the first 5 episodes. So sure, you go ahead, tell me your story.
So obviously, in that episode I think it was like episode 3 or 4, right?
4, yeah, it was 4.
And our also probably my least favorite character, to be honest. Like I was probably like not so unhappy that he went away. Hawk gets a bomb put in him by Jason Red Hood, and boom, dude blows up. Okay, done, right? And I remember when it happened, I was like, wait, what? That just happened? Like they just killed this dude? So anyways, so fast forward, we watched that episode, my wife and I, and then I went out with some friends drinking, and I came home. I was a little inebriated, right? And I passed out.
And you woke up with a bomb on your chest.
Right, no. And close to that, I guess. So I don't find this out till the next morning. So apparently my wife goes, "Hey, do you remember last night?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "You were talking in your sleep." I was like, "Oh, what'd I say?" She goes, she goes, "I woke up and I thought you said, 'Oh, fuck.'" And so she goes, "What? What's wrong?" And she goes, I thought you said, 'Oh, fuck.'" And I guess what I really said was, "To Hawk," and I cheers to my glass like in the air. Like I raised a cheers to Hawk in my drunken stupor because I was still thinking about it. It had got to me, man. I was thinking about it. She goes, "What?" And then she goes, "What'd you say?" And I go, "To Hawk." And I raised my drink, my non-existent drink up in the air again. And she goes, "Are you asleep?" And I go, "Yeah, I think so." And I just passed back out. So
oh my God.
I found that out the next day. So cheers to Hawk, man. See you later, bro.
The Hawk. Yeah. Pour some out for the homies. Yeah, I don't know. I liked Hawk. Like I didn't really like him in season 1. He definitely grew on me in season 2 because he was like a badass, and Alan Richter is a cool actor. He was Aquaman in the Smallville series. I thought he was good in that. And
he was in the Turtles too.
Yeah, he was
the live action Turtles. Yeah, Wrath. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And he was interesting enough, like to be brought back in. I thought it was funny, like when you first saw him, and he's the cop, and he's got the corny.
Yeah, that
mustache.
was funny.
But even that episode,
like Reno 911 on the bikes. Yeah,
like the whole episode of him with Jason, and like you knew he wasn't going to help Jason. He was really going after the fight him. But man, when he came back and he had that bomb on his chest, I was just like, yo, this show got real.
It was touching, yeah,
for real. So
I guess Hawk and Dove to me are just kind of like they're cool characters, and I liked them. they were great in season 1 because they were kind of like auxiliary characters. You know what I mean? They weren't like the focus. But after a while, and especially in a show that doesn't highlight really costumes at all, it was goofy as fuck to just see Hawk and Dove always in costumes, and then Dick in just like street clothes, and Corey dressed like a hooker, and Beast Boy in his jacket. So it was always kind of weird how they're the only two in costume. They don't have powers. They never went into any of their like the cool lore about like the Hawk and Dove, like what the bird of war and stuff like that, storylines with them. So yeah,
well,
I was okay with him going.
I guess, yeah, I guess what it is you have to push characters out to maybe bring characters back in, because
Right.
even like this season, like the Beast Boy relationship with Superboy, I feel like that's moving, and you no longer have Ravenger from season 2.
Yeah.
So we're obviously, and they've shown in the previews and even in screenshots and like promotional stuff that you see like Donna Troy, we know what happens to her in season 2. You see Raven in kind of like a white garb, so she's kind of getting like a different outfit. So yeah, what happened with towards the end of season 2 was there was just too many characters.
Of course,
and that takes away from the true story. So I understand like people have to go. Like I know it's not like a Suicide Squad type of show, but yeah, people need to leave to bring other people up. And I still think there's characters that are on the show that still haven't gotten their due. Like I still think Beast Boy
hasn't got anything. Yeah, he's just like, I don't understand what his story is, dude. There's no story with that guy at all. That poor bastard just is like a prop piece and sometimes like a comic relief a little bit. And he's always like abused,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
And then the thing with like Coriander, with Starfire, she's kind of like cool, I guess, what I've seen in the first 5 episodes, and then with her sister with Blackfire was interesting. I don't know where they're going with that, but
you get more of that in this new episode. Okay. That relationship there. Okay. So a couple teasers for this new episode. No spoilers. You get a lot more like a little dynamic between Blackfire and Starfire, and like in Blackfire trying to find her role in this whole world that she's in now. And you get you get backstory with Barbara and Dick, which is pretty cool. Okay. And an introduction of a villain as well, Lady Vic, which we all knew Lady Vic was going to be in this season. So Lady Vic shows up. One thing I did want to talk about, and I kind of had like mentioned this to Justin as well, because I'm watching the first 2 episodes, and the actress who's playing Barbara Gordon, I was like, wait a second, because we all know, okay, she gets shot by Joker, becomes Oracle, is in a wheelchair, right? So I'm watching the first couple episodes, and I was like, does she only have one leg? And I remember texting Justin like, yo, I think this actress only has one leg, or they're making Barbara Gordon only have one leg. I don't get what's going on. And then so did a little research, and it turns out the actress actually does only have one leg. She had like lost her leg in she was actress before, lost her leg in I think it was a car accident. And
I can't remember, was that or skiing or horseback or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was a car accident. She was like thrown, and
yeah. So this episode, when you're watching it, I'm going to kind of give you, maybe this might annoy you a little bit, but you're going to watch, and she's this is pre-Joker shooting her, so like there's scenes where she's definitely standing a lot. So it's interesting, and she's great. I think she's a fabulous actress. Like I think she really pulls it off. I think she kind of nails Barbara Gordon as well, at least in the role that they've got Barbara Gordon in. So
I don't know. Like I don't know how I feel about the whole. I love her as Oracle. I mean, I love her as Batgirl, of course, Barbara Gordon, but
Commissioner, you're not crazy about?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this. Like, yeah, she is a great actress and she's doing the job well, but I like her. I like Barbara Gordon as like an Oracle character, like helping them out. And maybe I don't know if it'll help. I don't know as the season progresses, will she kind of help in a similar fashion? Because I feel like she did help Dick a little bit with that one episode with Red Hood. I guess that was maybe like the 3rd episode. But we'll see, I guess, how the season goes. So
there's some Oracle mentioning in this episode.
Okay, so good to know.
All
right, so that's our stuff on the good old DC Titans. We'll definitely discuss What If next week.
So
go ahead.
One more thing too that I meant to talk about, like with Scarecrow and stuff, is it? Do you think? I mean, it's not coincidence, right? That like Scarecrow is the focal villain, or not focal, but one of the big villains of the season. We also know, if you're reading current Batman with Fear State coming out, that Scarecrow is super prevalent right now as well. So I think it's kind of, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting that DC is really pushing, and I don't know if it just worked out this way, if this was always the plan, but really pushing Scarecrow currently in the Batman universe right now.
Yeah, I wonder if they did that for that reason. But
right. So
maybe they didn't want to touch on, because it's so tough, because the Titans villains are few and far between. You did Trigon, you did Deathstroke.
Right. Those are the big two.
Yeah, those are like the big two. You have I can't think of, what's the guy from the Judas Contract? Brother Blood.
Oh yeah, brother. And there was actually a brother. Did you see that in Gotham? It was in episode 1. There was like the Church of Blood. Did you see it on the wall? Yeah.
So
that
was
cool.
Maybe down the road, but that's really that's the only things that
Blackfire, obviously.
Yeah. So that's really who I think about when I think Titans. Like, I don't ever think Scarecrow. So bringing in a Batman villain like this, being back in Gotham is pretty badass. And I don't know if you noticed this, but in the 4th episode, when they the what's it called? Or no, 5th episode, the Lazarus episode, with they obviously tease Ra's al Ghul because of the Lazarus pit, which is interesting. But did you get a real quick glimpse of what Jason looks like before he gets regenerated? Like his face.
Yeah, his face was all jacked up.
Oh my god, man!
He took a crowbar.
His jaw. Yeah, his jaw
was like gone.
jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was rough.
So really great episode so far for this season. I guess now I have to watch episode 6 after I go see Shang-Chi. So so let's round out the night with, of course, what we always talk about. What are we currently reading? It's been a while for me to be talking about any books, so I definitely have some nice little books on the horizon to chat about. What about you, Zach? You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first, because I'm going to be quick, because I don't have anything. This is one of those weird 5th weeks of the month where it's like usually annuals and like random stuff. Obviously, we had the Batman Fear State Alpha came out, which was pretty decent. I think the only one that I guess I really would talk about, it wasn't great, but it was interesting. But you had Marvel's got this new little mini series called Dark Ages. Number 1 came out. I think it's kind of like a what if story. It's obviously not main continuity, and it's like if this, I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it's kind of like an end of the world, power goes out, back to the Dark Ages. What happens when there's no electricity, and how does it affect superheroes and stuff going forward? So Tom Taylor wrote it. First issue, it was decent. It was kind of cool. I'm in to see where it goes, but man, 6 issues I think is all it's going to be, which would probably about enough for me with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just read it today. I picked it up. I thought it was great. I actually thought it was a really good. It's like you said, it's an end of the world catastrophe, but I like how they involve everybody. There's the mutants are there. The Avengers. The Young Avengers crew, the Champions crew is all there. All the spiders are there. So it's definitely going to be an interesting ride to see how they take it without, electricity and armored up suits and stuff like that. So I'm actually interested to read this Marvel event. I don't know what type of, I don't think they're doing any tie-ins, and if they do, I'm sure it'll just be like a one shot, because I don't think you can have this side story with then a bunch of side tie-ins to really keep it, keep people from like into the series. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to have Amazing Spider-Man number 755 and 756 be part of this, because then that's not part of what's really going on in those storylines. So
and I'm good. Tom Taylor, I enjoyed Deceased. I thought Deceased was fun. I even liked the little spin-off they did as Dead Planet Deceased. I thought that was really cool too. So I mean, I'll hang out for a bit with it.
Nice. So those are your books?
Yeah. I'm still reading that X Factor Omnibus, which is awesome right now.
Nice.
So
you talked about that with Gabe last week.
Yeah.
So for my books this week, I actually got a couple books. So you took my honorable mention with the Dark Ages, but I definitely recommend that for anybody who's out there listening. Definitely check it out, at least the first issue, or just pick up all 6. It's definitely a fun little read. But with so much hype right now and hotness that is Riri Williams, I actually went back and read that Invincible Iron Man run.
Okay.
where she's introduced. Obviously her, it was like 14 issues or 15 issues. There was a little bit of tie-ins into the Civil War II storyline, but you, you know, it's very interesting. You look at that series, and when Mike Deodato took over as the artist, is awesome. So if you ever get a chance, everybody gets a chance to actually read that series. I know you're obviously going to be hard to find 7 and 9 because of Riri's appearances, but the rest of the issues are very cheap to find. They're no more than a couple bucks to maybe $10 for, issue number 10 and 11 for Invincible Iron Man. But you got to think about it now. That was written by Brian Michael Bendis. So Brian Michael Bendis now has Miles Morales as a huge character, and now you're bringing Riri Williams into the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of on fire with first appearance characters.
What about Naomi?
And Naomi for
Naomi.
CW.
Yeah.
So I definitely think, people need to really start looking at that Naomi number 1, because, people are like knocking DC books and saying, oh, they don't really move the needle. But I don't know, man. I think Naomi's going to do really well. And I think people are going to be surprised when they can't find a Naomi number 1.
Yeah.
So that's one of my series, and my other 2 books, which I really want to talk about because I haven't been here for a while and talk about it, but I'm actually reading 2 different miniseries for Transformers. I stopped reading the current ongoing Transformers just because it just got too hectic. But there's 2 miniseries out right now. You have the Shattered Glass, and Shattered Glass Transformers is one of my favorite timelines, or like what if storylines for Transformers. Basically, it flip-flops the Autobots and the Decepticons. The Autobots are the bad guys, and the Decepticons are actually the good guys. So in this latest storyline, yeah, it's really cool. Like the idea of it. So you have obviously like Megatron's like the Decepticon leader, but he's, kind of like Optimus Prime. He's a good guy. And then you have Optimus Prime as a bad guy. But so this storyline, or this comic, actually picks up after like what would happen on Earth. They go back to Cybertron. The war is kind of over. And you have a character, Blur, Blur was first introduced in the animated movie back in the 80s. And he's like a bounty hunter. And if anybody knows Blur, Blur is like a fast talking Autobot. And to see him, kind of like beat up and being a bounty hunter, Autobot who's bad, it's very interesting to see. And I love seeing these storylines because he's in this first issue, he's going after Starscream, and Starscream is like one of my top 5 characters. And to see him as a good guy Decepticon is pretty interesting. So I think it's like a 5 or 6 issue mini. I'm definitely sticking with it because I love, like I said, I love the Shattered Glass stuff. This came out like a long time ago. They did like a one shot, and they did like a quick Transformers line of action figures. So that's one of my books. And then my second book, which is one of my top 3 Autobots and probably Transformers in general, is the Transformers Grimlock series. So there's 2 issues out. It basically has my boy Grimlock, leader of the Dinobots, and he somehow gets transported to some like almost like a Thorian like world with like strange powers, and there's like these like fantasy style beasts. And what happens is this wizard, or like a barbarian Arco, basically was trying to get Optimus Prime to come to his world to help him, but in fact, unfortunately, they got Grimlock. And we all know Grimlock's kind of like the stupid Autobot. Like he's not bright. So the fact that like they keep saying that they wish they had him and they got Grimlock's like, he's like, oh, you guys want Optimus Prime. Well, I'm not Optimus Prime. But the first 2 issues are really good. The action's great because of the fact that it's just, you're only seeing one Transformer. Like I feel like that's what always is taken away with the Transformer comics, is there's too many Transformers on screen and you don't get enough action for each either Autobot or Decepticon.
Right.
So with the fact that it's just Grimlock and he's around all these humans, like the art style and the action is really awesome. And Grimlock's just a fun character. I mean, he transforms into a T-Rex, and anybody who's been watching him since the 80s like I have knows, Grimlock's a badass Autobot. So those are my books for this week. I am also reading the Beast Wars series, and the Beast Wars series is really good too because that actually brought back the first time in comic books all the kind of original Beast Wars Transformers characters from the late '90s series. So a lot of Transformers reading right now from me.
Yeah, that's cool though.
So,
Something different.
yeah,
Well,
definitely
different to hear from you. I know it's not different for you. You've been reading it for a long time, so.
Yeah, like I said, I really want it's because that's always what it's been. Transformers has always been just like one ongoing series, and they never do like little mini series.
Right.
But the fact that they have these two little mini series and they have the Beast Wars right now, there's just a lot of Transformer stuff out there that I'm actually appreciate and enjoy reading because the main story ongoing series like just got so far fetched and I just couldn't keep up with it. I was just like I ended up dropping the title like I think a while ago. So.
Mhm.
And again, if anybody wants a really good read, check out Brian Michael Bendis's Invincible Iron Man run.
Cool.
So that's it. That's all we got for episode 34.
Yeah, sounds good.
Been a fun one. I know both Zach and I are going to see Shang-Chi. Oh, there's actually one more thing, and Zach may actually hate me after I say this, and I've been holding this off for 2 weeks, and you don't know anything about this, so you're going to be. Unfortunately, this is not a video podcast, so no one can see Zach's face but me. But so for the past 2 weeks, I am now a level 10 Argonian warden in Elder Scrolls Online.
What you've been? You're a bastard, dude.
Yo, I'm so sorry. It was on sale for like $8, and I just started playing. So.
Well, why didn't you tell me? I would have bought it too. Have you been playing PC?
I wanted to see if I was going to enjoy it because I played it vanilla like way back in 2014, and it was so funny. Is like it still had my original character.
I don't even know what a warden is. That's must be something new.
They're like beast summoners, so I can like summon beasts. Yeah, like my ultimate, I can summon like a bear right now.
Gotcha.
And then I can also throw out like this dive bomb bird and these bugs. So, I went different. My first character was same thing. He was an Argonian. So because I like playing the lizard characters. He was like a thief, but I was like, I'm not going thief again. I'm not going bow and arrow. Like I want to do something that I never do in any of these games. And I was just like, I'm gonna go this warden thing. So,
well, it's fun.
For 2 weeks.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed, so
well,
got to finish that first.
If you want to buy it, I didn't want to tell you about it because like I didn't know like if I was really going to stick with it for a while. But let me tell you that PS5 update makes it look nice, and the world is so much bigger now than when I played it years ago.
Yeah. So. Well, maybe I'll look into it.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. Episode 34 in the books. Been a lot of fun back here on the podcast. Next week, actually this whole month for September, we have a nice bunch of guests coming on. We have a returning guest. Again, I want to thank Gabe for stepping in last week. I listened to that episode last Friday. That was really good. And of course, our friend Ken Marion, who artist for DC Comics and Aspen, as well as his upcoming comic Death Shroud. It was really funny. So and this is another thing, like Ken got me back into watching Gundam Wing. So when we talked real quick with him, I bought the Gundam Wing Endless Waltz on Blu-ray. And now over the past 2 weeks, I've been rewatching the Gundam Wing series on Hulu. So everybody kind of gets me, to go back down these rabbit holes. So it's been a great show, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you next week.
Later, fellas.
Peace.